Also, Tom Fitzpatrick's article, New Times, Tempe, Arizona, November 11 and 17, 1987. From Burma to Bush, a heroin trade. Should interest you. Both of these men are prize-winning journalists. Stevenson's life was the basis for the movie, The Man Called Intrepid. Crimes of Patriots, A True Tale of Dope, Dirty Money, and the CIA by Jonathan Whitney, reported for the Wall Street Journal. Details for you the bank connections that Kumsaw mentions. Finally, the basic primer that spells out exactly how this dope for covert operations gambit began is Alfred McCoy's The Politics of Heroin in Southeast Asia. All of these should be required reading for the man appointed chief cop by our president to safeguard America from illegal narcotics, and we're talking about Bush. These are just a sampling of the many works now available that chronicle disgraceful conduct by those sworn to protect and defend our Constitution. The parting shot, Mr. Vice President, on January 28th of 1988, Kumsaw tendered an offer to turn over to me 1 metric ton, 2,200 pounds of heroin. He said this is a good faith gesture to the American people, that he was serious about stopping all drugs coming from Golden Triangle. Now, if you and Nancy Reagan are really serious about saying no to drugs, why not test General Kumsaw? I challenge you to allow me, in the company of agents of your choice, to arrange to receive this token offer worth over $4 billion on the streets of New York City. It will represent the largest legal seizure of heroin on record. You can personally touch it, dump it in the ocean, turn it into legal medication, or, as I understand, there's a great shortage of legal opiates available to our doctors. I think General Kumsaw's offer is most interesting. If you say yes, then the ever-increasing flow of heroin from Southeast Asia, 600 tons in 86, 900 tons in 87, 1,200 tons in 88, may dry up. Not good for business in parallel government and super CIA circles Oliver North mentioned. If you say no to Kumsaw, you are showing colors not fit for a man who would be president. What is your decision? I challenge you to demonstrate exactly where you stand with respect to big business drugs, parallel government, cover-up of those close to you implicated by numerous sources, misuse of U.S. taxpayers' dollars in foreign drug suppression programs that don't work, no interest in a dialogue that will stem the flow of illegal narcotics, return of prisoners of war while they're still alive. I, for one, am not for a USA incorporated with you or anyone else as chairman of the board. The letter is signed James Bo Gritz. Accompanied with this letter was a cover letter to the media from Gritz. Why didn't you read this in the paper? Quote, my trial for misuse of passport has been delayed again to May 16th. The witnesses who came from Thailand to testify were not allowed to give their depositions. The U.S. Attorney's Office, and according to Lamont Mills, former U.S. Attorney, quote, we will not help you in any way with this case. We don't care about justice in this matter. That is a quote. Now, these witnesses testified to Mills that they knew I was working for the USG. There are U.S. prisoners of war alive in Communist Asia, and the reason for my trial is a dirty government, dope, and cover-up. I believe the offer from Kumsaw to turn over 1 metric ton of heroin is real. I believe the Vice President will ignore this offer unless you make it known to the voting public. That's the letter. This letter is dated February 1st, 88.
These documentaries show how those who attempt to present evidence or testify as to the high-up government officials' alleged connection to drug running, murders, cover-ups, money laundering, and the destroying of evidence through shredding documents, like in the case with the Whitewater case, etc., are demonized or vilified in the news and media. Or they also come up missing, beaten, murdered. Their homes are invaded so as to find files that expose the crimes of high-up government officials. They suffer through many false legal charges made against them. Some get to go to jail or lose their jobs or have to flee for their lives just because they attempt to present evidence, bring about legal actions, or investigate further into these alleged crimes of the Clintons and Bush drug barons' activities. These alleged crimes by high government officials still seem to go unanswered, even to this day. The Justice Department and Congress, despite how much evidence survives and is presented, despite efforts to destroy, turn a blind eye towards, or suppress such evidence, still, despite this, those in power remain in power to further smash Americans' rights in the name of drug wars, wars on terror, and identity theft issues, where they tell us that we need to be computer chipped in order to solve this manufactured crisis, the identity theft. What if the government were to go after the many different banks that they find out were laundering drug money? Would your account also be seized, even though your money is not drug related, but instead it's your life savings from many hours of your life which you sold to different employers throughout your life and throughout the years for so much per hour that your employers allows you to have, and of which you've paid unfair and unconstitutional income taxes on when wages aren't your own corporate profits and thus shouldn't be taxed? Well, what if your assets and your money were seized because the bank was laundering drug money? Meanwhile, the common person, without endless taxpayers funding at their fingertips to defend themselves, are smashed down, robbed, and plundered of anything to defend themselves because their assets, cash, and properties are taken away from them in the name of the so-called drug war. Or they could be accused of being a terrorist because they may have exercised their constitutional rights for free speech, the right to bear arms, and right to be secure in their person or property. Thus, it's obvious, it's clear, it's frightening that the one-worlders, world money barons, and the new world orderists have, as they said they would, used the so-called crisis of drugs in our streets and guns, etc., to take away our freedoms, abolish private property, take away guns, and drain America of its wealth. The shocking fact is, too, that many in different police departments, courts, and government agencies and legal systems have also taken advantage of these wars, too, in order to make a killing at taxpayers and the innocents' expense. Now, this is not a charge against those in these government agencies that try hard to be honest and even fight against corruption and unconstitutional laws and methods. But it is a wake-up call to the American public to step forward and start healing and upholding the Constitution now hanging by a thread. Wake up, America! Spread the word. These different wars are only being used by the elite to have an excuse to take away more of our rights, wealth, and enslave us under their one world government, new world order, globalization, globalism. Wake up, America!